Hello everyone, welcome back to the Vinci Hair Podcast. I'm Josh, great to see you all again. And today we've got a very, very special guest indeed. I think we can say teacher, chemist, model, actor, blogger. I think the list goes on. But I'm very pleased to welcome Pericles Rosa. Welcome.
Thanks so much, Josh. I feel very flattered to be here. Thanks so much for having me today.
That's nice to have you, man.
It's my very first podcast ever, so
How you feeling so
a bit
far?
nervous,
A bit nervous.
a little bit of butterflies in my stomach, which is good, which is very good. Starting the year with something new, so what is better than that?
What New Year's resolutions have you got this year?
I don't do much New Year's resolution. What I'm trying to do, like maybe drink more water, take care of myself even more, put like my well-being on the top of everything. Yeah.
You're in good shape though.
Yeah. Well, I try. I do my best. So I've been working out for such a long time, and it's part of my lifestyle. So I cannot go on without exercising. This is the reality.
It's something I was going to ask you. I'm going to plan on asking you, but it's about keeping that consistency of well-being whilst traveling as much as you do. But we'll come on to that a little bit later.
Okay, sure.
Like I said, I wanted to, I sort of slightly joked at the start with the sort of laundry list of things that you do and the sort of the credits to your name, so to speak. But roll me all the way back. Tell me where you're from, what your upbringing was like, and how you ended up sitting here today.
Okay, it's a very long story.
It's fine. We've got all the time in the world.
I'm from Brazil. I'm from Bahia, northeast of Brazil, from a city called Itabuna in the south of Brazil. So I lived there until I was 23. And then I have a degree in chemistry. So I taught chemistry, physics, and math for a while. And then I started working as a model back in 2000. And then I decided to move to São Paulo to work as a professional model over there. So I left everything in Bahia. I had a very stable life. I have like the kind of dream life for many people because I was living by myself. I had a car, I had a stable job, So I left everything behind and moved to São Paulo to work as a model. So my life changed completely at that time because I no longer had a stable income. I no longer had like a job, I was trying to become a professional model. And I was sharing in a flat with 3 more people. I was living by myself, so everything was different. And then I was in São Paulo from 2003 to 2008. I came into Europe to try to work here as well as a model. I stayed 7 months in total. I stayed more time in Valencia in Spain. Then in 2009, I moved back to Brazil. I was in São Paulo for a while, and then I was not happy living there. I moved to New York. I was in New York for 4 years, from 2011 to 2015. 2015, I moved back to São Paulo, and then 2016, I started the blog. So I started traveling around the world. I came here, stayed 5 months because I have relatives here.
Here in London?
Yeah, I stayed here. My mom, she lives in Oxford. So I stayed here in London. I went to Asia for 5 months. I came back, and then I was traveling constantly to feed the blog. And then 2018, I moved officially to London. Yeah, I moved to London.
So it's funny you were talking about the 7 continents. It sounded like you were doing that anyway. You were traveling so much anyway, as part and parcel of being a model or looking for work as well. Tell me about what it was like when you moved from. I mean, I know Bahia, and I know as a state, as an environment, it is night and day compared to Sao Paulo. What was that like? In your early 20s, moving to Sao Paulo, you said it was quite, you left something really easy and really good and a nice setup in Bahia, and then moving to Sao Paulo, big city, pretty chaotic, high competition, particularly for modeling. Sao Paulo is certainly for female models, but also for male models. A lot of them are there in Sao Paulo before they get discovered and then go to New York or London, wherever. So what was that like then, moving to Sao Paulo from a sort of the countryside of Bahia, or sort of like the tranquil environment of Bahia?
Was hard, but at the same time exciting, When you do something new that you are kind of a bit lost, a bit excited, a bit scared, all these things combined, all these feelings combined. So this was hard because, as you said, the competition in São Paulo as a model is very high, and then every time you had a casting on audition, like 50, 100, and they were waiting an hour, 2 hours to be seen, and then you have like 5, 6 seconds, 10 seconds to show you to do the audition, and then gone. And then the next day or the same day, another audition. So it was very hard. Because I was still in Brazil, I guess the change, it was a big change, but the thing about just changed more when I moved abroad, when I came to Europe, when I was in New York. So I'm a very active person, so I love things to do. I love being in a big city. So I live in São Paulo, New York. So I live in London now. There are cities, there are a lot of things to do. A bit crazy sometimes, you know.
I'm very aware of it.
Yeah, you know. But this is what I like.
Sure.
So it was good. This was a very good lesson, I would say, my São Paulo chapter. I guess it prepared for the other steps that I would take. That time I didn't know, you know.
So when you moved to Valencia in Spain, you said from Sao Paulo.
Yeah, I was in Europe for almost 7 months in total, but my mom, she was living in Portugal at that time.
Okay.
So I was based more in Valencia, where I worked as a model. I had my cousin was living there, I had friends living there, so I moved there, and it was good. It was very good as well.
And and were you modeling there? Were you finding work? Was it easier to find work there?
No. It was not easy, but it was fine. It was kind of fine. Yeah, I stayed there until I think that was I was getting some work, and then after I decided to move back to Brazil.
Right.
And then I stayed in Brazil for 2 years.
Why did you go back?
Why did I go back? Yeah. So I was in Valencia the time that they had the crisis, the
financial...
The 2008, 2009, you know, the houses, like
Yeah, the subprime mortgage.
Yeah. So that time the market crashed, and then it was very hard to find work, and I decided to move back to Brazil.
Back to Sao Paulo, not to Bahia?
Back to São Paulo. Bahia just on vacation.
I mean, it's funny because, of course, a lot of listeners or viewers won't know what Bahia is like, but it's probably one of the most beautiful states in Brazil.
I know. Yeah, when I see pictures last year, 2022, I was in Brazil for 35 days. I went to Bahia. And when I say people, I used to live close to this island. I used to live close to this city. Even I think, okay, but you know, I guess when you move, especially abroad from a small city, your mind changes completely.
Of course.
And then it's very hard to go back and to stay there. So I knew that I didn't want to stay in Bahia. First time I went back to Bahia, I was in São Paulo. When I went back, I was like, okay, I don't want to live here anymore. I'm not coming back. Even my sister, she lives here now. Yeah. She lives in Oxford with my mom. And last year, 2023, was the first time she went back to Brazil and to Bahia. And she was like, oh, I wish I had moved before.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Why is that?
Because life is different, you know. Yeah, life is different. I guys have many more opportunities here.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a place that you would... I don't know, I would love to retire there.
Yeah, maybe, yeah.
I would love to retire somewhere like Bahia. But so tell me about this, because I'm quite interested by the whole modeling business. I know I've got sort of friends of mine who have done it. And the industry itself is, I mean, it's changed significantly from when you started out to what it is today, particularly in the rise of almost self-auditions with social media today. Was it something that you always wanted to do? Was it a means to an end? A lot of people choose, if they've got the aesthetics, start modeling to go into acting, or the end goal is modeling. What was the thinking behind it?
Sometimes I think that I was working as a model because I want to travel. Sometimes I think about that, to be honest.
Yeah.
Yeah, because. Guys, I always say when I came to Europe in 2008, something mean like changed. You know, I loved exploring the world and discovering places and learning about history, learning about the place that I was visiting. And then, of course, when I started working as a model, I was more to be a model, like, you know, was my main focus. And then I guess after a while, I could envision this opportunity to do work in different places and to travel. I guess it's the reason I'm a blogger now.
So you
But
basically
I
found
still,
another.
yeah, I still work as a model. I work on the TV industry. That was not something that I planned before as well. So my life is a bit crazy, full of ups and downs, and
Everybody's is.
yeah, and so many changes. So I would never teach chemistry again,
That's crazy
Yeah,
to think
yeah,
that
I
was
know.
part of
When I
your.
think, when I think about like, oh my God, I can't believe it. I taught chemistry. Like, I don't even remember anything anymore.
It's all right, Marianne. You used to do biology, didn't you? Yeah.
Yeah, so when I studied, it was sciences. So I could study physics, chemistry,
Mm-hmm.
mathematics, or biology. So I studied chemistry, and then I taught chemistry, physics, and mathematics.
Interesting. There's
Yeah,
always
and when I was in New York, I also studied travel, tourism, and hospitality management when I was in New York. Yeah, I worked as a model there as well. So, and I was studying, and I was doing so many different things.
But I remember reading an article with David Gandy,
Mm-hmm.
and he said that his modeling career was quite interesting and you might need to fact check this for me, by the way, guys, because I think he was an electrician, and one of his friends submitted his photos into a competition as a joke. I think that's what happened, and then they saw him, and then of course he became the face of Dolce & Gabbana,
Yeah.
and the rest is history.
Yeah.
But it's always funny when you hear these people; they've always got a completely different industry that they're in, you know. But no, that's it. So have there been many campaigns that you've been part of that people would recognize?
I did some in Brazil that people would recognize me that time. Not anymore.
Not anymore. It's a little while ago.
Now they recognize me for other things now.
Yeah, of course. Of course.
But I did some campaigns for like banks, more advertising. Yeah.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, cars, banks, yeah, some fashion shows, but like more was advertisement.
What
ads.
what is a big because of course sort of I would say the 3-4 places that I always think of when you think of modeling, you think of New York, well certainly New York,
Yeah.
London, Paris, but Brazil has a very, very interesting relationship with particularly the modeling industry, but aesthetics as in general.
Yeah, in January.
I'm curious to know what is, and I touched on it earlier with social media. What have been some of the big changes you've noticed over the period of time, and what were some of the changes that you noticed in the modeling business going from Sao Paulo to New York to Europe?
Yeah, I guess like if Europe and New York are like a more fast-paced environment, like very high-end. They have like a more, I would say the top models are on this place. Of course, in Brazil we have a lot of models, but they usually go to Asia first to make like take some good pictures, to get used to the model career, and then they moved to either Europe or New York. So in Brazil now, I guess it's a bit, it's a trend in not only Brazil, but in the whole world. Modeling is more diverse now. So you see a lot of, there's a big difference from the time I worked. Everyone was like more, blonde. Even in Brazil as well, had these like straight hair, blonde, or either they have that profile, or you are like very exotic. It's like to be the one, the middle of a crowd,
Yeah.
But now it's very diverse, very, very diverse. And a lot of self tapes, So you don't have to go, even here the same. So you don't have to go to many auditions, you do a self tape and then send to your agency, and then they see if they want to see you in person, or even if you got the job. So in Brazil, you guys moved to this as well.
Yeah, and I suppose also what the sort of successful candidates, what they are. Yeah, like you said, there's a very, very broad, what we say, like a broad church of candidates, because whether it's an advertising campaign for a product, or whether it's more fashion related, there seems to me to be a bigger demand for a broader range of people. I still remember even when I was young, you would have what sort of the heroin chic, which so the sort of the Kate Mosses, it was sort of very slim, and it was a very it was sort of like very defined bone
Yeah,
structures
yeah,
and all the rest of it.
yeah.
Male models has always been a bit different. I think partly because the longevity of a male model is much longer, or sort of the career is much longer. Although that's changing as well. People like Gisele or
Yeah.
a lot of the female models their careers are slightly longer. So run me back. So you were in New York. Oh, so you did Asia. You did New York. I'm trying to keep up with all the places that you've been to. So we did New York. You did Asia, and then eventually you found yourself in London. You came to London when
2018.
2018.
Yeah.
Why London? Because your mother was in Oxford.
Yeah, my mom was in Oxford.
What made
yeah.
her move to Oxford?
Well, she moved. She was living in Portugal, and then she decided to move to Oxford. A friend said that the life here was better, then she moved.
Interesting.
So, and then I was in Brazil that time in 2015. I created the blog in 2016. I said, okay, I'm going to stay in Europe for a while, and then I go to Asia, and then just said, okay, I'm gonna move to London, like apply for my visa, and then stay here. God knows for how long.
I mean, that was what, 5, so it was just a little while ago. It was what, 7, 8 years ago.
6, yeah, it's also 18. Yeah, it's gonna be 7 years,
Yeah.
and then it's like September.
How are you finding it? I
I love London.
Yeah?
yeah.
It's an amazing place, no?
At the beginning was a bit hard for me, to be honest.
How come?
I guess I was comparing London, New York to
Everyone
New York
does.
all the time, and
Everyone
then they are
does.
two completely different cities. Yeah. And then for me, I was like, okay, because in New York it's like that, in New York like that, and then during the pandemic, I moved to Oxford to live with my mom. After over 20 years, I was living with my mom.
You come full circle. Okay.
And then when I moved back to London, 2020, after pandemic, 2021. And then I was like, okay, I love this city. I have to move back and stay here.
They say when a man is tired of London, he's tired of life. There's always something.
Never heard this before.
Yeah. there's always something. There's always something to say. It's funny that you say there is a. You compare it to New York. Lots of people do, right?
Yeah.
I still think I've read somewhere, and I don't know whether this is true, that the most frequently flown route in the world is London to New York, or New York to London. That includes even domestic flights, like Sao Paulo to Rio, for example. It's more common than that. I think it's like sort of 8, 9 flights a day or something crazy like that. But that's interesting. So tell me about blogging, because of course you were doing all this traveling anyway with work, and then you ended up setting this blog up, and it's obviously based around traveling. But there's other parts to it as well. Tell me a little bit about the blog.
Yeah, so I started the blog when I moved back to Brazil in 2015. Mostly because I started writing. I didn't want to lose the fluency in English.
Okay.
And then I started writing about my stories, my travels, and then I decided to try to sell it or to try to get published. And then people say, okay, where have you published it before? Send me the link, send me the magazine. And I was like, I never did this before.
Yeah, of course.
And now I say, okay, I'm going to set up my own blog. And then I set up the blog. I started blogging in a personal way, and then to transport the reader to the same point of view that I was like, as the reader were in that trip with me. And then, of course, I had to change a lot because of if I make a business, you need to make money, have to produce content that people are searching on the internet, you have to, of course, to do all the SEO to get the post on the first page. So, and then yeah, it's very. I love blogging. It's very demanding. I don't know if people have idea how much work I have to put it to run a blog, especially if it's a blog in 3 languages.
You did it in 3, do you?
Yeah, it's like 3 blogs in one. So it's a lot of work, but I love it.
How often do you...
So I slowed down recently from last year to this year, to be honest, mostly because Google policy changed the algorithm and then it messed up our lives. Everyone who I know who has a blog went through the same thing, lost traffic with AI and all these things, yes. I slowed down a little bit, so... right now I'm more updating some old content, but not producing much content.
Is it something you want to get back into then?
So I'm trying to move. I'm organizing group trips from this year. So
okay.
Yeah, I was just in the morning write about my group trip to Greece.
Okay.
Yeah, now I have the chance to travel with people. People have the chance to travel with me.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm organizing one group to Greece in May.
What?
Yeah.
And so tell me about these groups. How do you?
So it's a group with between 10 and 14 people. So you start, I will meet them, I will be the tour leader. I'll meet them in Athens. We stay 2 days in Athens, and then we fly to Santorini.
Wow.
You spend 4 nights in Santorini, and then we go to Crete, and you spend 5 nights in Crete. So everything I organize everything: the hotels, accommodation, transport, guides, flight, ferry,
Wow.
and tours, activities. So everything is organized. I don't have to worry about anything because I know how hard it is to plan a trip.
Of course.
You have to read, you have to ask friends, you have to try to find a hotel. You're not sure about hotel activities and all these things. So I've been to Greece several times.
Yeah.
And then I decided to start doing this group trip. Greece is the first destination, but I want to do Brazil, of course.
Of course, you can't not do Brazil. I mean, I was going to say.
I want to take people to Bahia,
Yeah.
to my home state. I want to take people to Rio, so I want to do Thailand as well. It's a place that I love. Yeah,
Where's the destination that stands out that stands out for you with all the traveling that you've done?
Well, it's all depends on the purpose of the travel. If you want to be if you want to lose your comfort zone and be a bit culturally shocked, some people don't like this term, but I guess it's the appropriate term to use. India for sure.
Yeah.
One of my favorite places is Thailand, I guess because I'm Brazilian. I love beaches. Beaches for me like oxygen, so, and Thailand, the beaches are amazing. The islands, so I love Thailand, the Philippines. Indonesia is very nice as well,
Yeah.
not only Bali. There are other places that people don't know, and they are very interesting.
Lombok. And
Hajampat is
Yeah,
one of
it's
my
amazing,
favorites.
isn't
Yeah.
God, yeah. It's funny you say that. There is I was listening to something recently with a Brazilian who was talking about their sort of their favorite sort of destinations or their recommendations, and in fact they were recommending destinations which were basically Brazil destinations just further away. So, for example, we were speaking off air where we were talking about Trancoso, for example. And I mean, Trancoso is amazing, right?
Yeah.
But there's this interviewer, this person that was being interviewed was talking about Thailand and specifically Copenhagen. And I thought, well, Jesus, that's exact. I mean, it's quite similar, insofar as it's quite a similar vibe. But the cultural shock bit of India is quite interesting. I mean, that's something which I think certainly from a group point of view, people would really like to do.
Yeah.
To go as a group as well. I think, you can obviously explore India on your own, but I think it's much better as a group. My dad used to live there in India, in the north of India. So yeah, it's a pretty amazing.
India is a place that you love or hate.
I think so. Yeah.
Because I know people who arrive one day, next day they want to leave.
Yeah.
Yeah, I loved India. It's very interesting. Like if you go to the north, Varanasi, and so
Varanasi at the foot of the Ganges. Yeah, it'd be amazing. There's a YouTuber, you might know him, Bald and Bankrupt, and he used to live in India. So he started his YouTube channel talking about, basically vlogging about his experiences in India, from Delhi to Mumbai to Varanasi to Goa. And it's just, there's something very, what's the word for it? There's something very enticing. People always say when you go to India, you come back a slightly different person because you see things there that you would never see anywhere else, So tell me, so with all of this going on with organizing group trips and everything else, we touched on it very briefly earlier on when we spoke about modeling moving into film and particularly Netflix. Tell me a little bit about your venture on screen.
Yes, so this is another thing that was not that much planned, to be honest. It starts cannot say by accident because nothing really happened by accident or by coincidence. So. Sure. Yeah, I had a friend, he's a producer, and then another friend asked me to ask him for agencies.
Yeah.
And then I got the name of the agencies, I sent to him, and I also signed up for some of them. And then before pandemic, I was called to do an audition for The Little Mermaid.
Okay.
Yeah, it was my very first movie.
Okay.
So this was 2019.
Yeah.
And then I went to the audition. Then we had to rehearsal, but then because of the pandemic, everything was postponed. We only filmed in 2021. So I was a villager.
Yeah.
So this was for Disney Plus.
Yeah.
I was a villager, and then we filmed like in just outside of London. No, in Uxbridge.
Okay.
Pinewoods. Yeah.
At Palmer Studios.
Yeah, Pinewood. I'm going there tomorrow.
Okay. You going there tomorrow?
Yeah, to film to start another film.
Okay.
Yeah. So, and then I was filming like 3 or 4 days, and it was very nice. I loved the experience itself. And then after that, the agencies kept me calling, and still today they keep calling me. And then I've worked in many different movies and series, and like
Wow.
worked with many people that I never imagined. Like, you know,
Such as?
I worked last year. I worked with Tom Cruise,
Okay.
George Clooney, Brad Pitt, Richard Gere. The same day I filmed with Richard Gere one day. The next day I filmed with Julia Roberts. It was kind of funny.
You're kidding.
Yeah. And then I filmed with Harrison Ford. Yeah, if Harrison Ford was something very funny because he came to me and talked to me, and he was like, "What? We are just a group of 4 or 5." He came and he asked everyone's name, and then I said, "My name is Pericles," and he was like, "Pericles?" I said, "Yes."
That's a good name.
Yeah, and what was your name before you changed it?
Yeah, that's what a lot of people think.
Yeah.
It's a stage name, right?
And then I was like, well, that time I was 45. I said, well, this has been my name for the last 45 years. And then he was like, look at me like, and then he was, and you are not that old, and left.
What a legend. What a hero.
Yeah.
There's a I don't know whether this is true, but there is apparently he was a carpenter, Harrison Ford, and his first major film was Star Wars.
Oh.
Apparently. And I think he'd been doing some work for George Lucas, which is
but
doing like some sort of carpentry work for George Lucas, and that's how he ended up. and then they said he said come for an audition, so he came for an audition. They were like, yeah, that's Han Solo.
Yes, I worked last year. The year before, I worked with Nicole Kidman as well. Yeah, it was very very nice. It's a Netflix, The Perfect Couple.
Okay.
Yeah, they filmed one scene here in London, the others they film in the US. So I've worked with many people, did many things, and I'm like, wow, tomorrow I start a new project. I cannot I start filming for 6 days.
Okay.
And then I continue in January. So after these 6 days, I'm start another thing on the 25th, 26th maybe. Yeah, goes until 10th of February, and then 11th February, I'm going to Morocco for the very first time.
Wow.
Yeah, for my birthday, I come back on the 19th. Then the 20th, I start filming again. Yeah.
So it sounds to me, obviously you've got the blog fine, but this sounds more time consuming.
Yeah, when you're filming, it's a lot of waiting, you know. They are changing the lens, they are adjusting the lights, they are filming different angles. So sometimes we're in the scene, sometimes we're not. Sometimes you go and you don't even film the whole day.
Yeah.
So in some productions, they are kind of more flexible. I can still take my laptop and do some work.
Yeah.
Others, you cannot use phone or laptops, and then
there's a certain level of confidence that you have to have as well. I think whether maybe that's why models naturally move from modeling to acting, partly because of the audition process of modeling. There is an audition process with acting, but I think maybe also the acceptance of rejection. Sometimes you become more used to it. Yeah, as a model, you're more used to being told no.
Yeah,
you're not the right look. You're not the right fit.
Yeah. At the beginning, it's very hard, to take.
Is it? Well, and also because at the beginning you're young, as well. Yeah. So it's difficult. It's difficult to be told no, you're not the right look.
Yeah.
At any stage.
In the end, you get used to this point,
But you get used to it, right?
Yeah. You get used to it. This day, just before Christmas, I went to an audition. Is another Netflix show, but I cannot say what it is.
Okay.
And so they emailed me. The agency went through everyone. We need people with like from 6 to 6.2, good physique, blah blah. I don't know if you're interested to work in this project. You have an audition on the 20th. because they did the first audition. They only picked 20,
Okay.
and then they still need 16 more. I went to the second audition. We are like maybe 40, between 40 and 50, I would say. And then they need to pick 16, and then they picked only 9. I was like, oh wow.
Really?
Yeah. So this is the one that I start filming on the 25th, 26th.
Do you learn to not get your hopes up?
I mean, sometimes you see the project, like, oh wow, I want to be part of
Yeah.
this. Like, what it is, you try to look it up, what it is, what you're gonna do, like, and you get excited. Just like, of course, I like people film a Wicked here,
Yeah.
like 2 years ago. This when I was in Brazil for for Carnival, for my birthday, and everything, and I was receiving the emails, oh, the fitting at this date. I was like, Jesus, I'm in Brazil. And then I missed. Of course, I want to work in Wicked. It's an awesome movie, and all my friends they worked and they loved it.
Really?
So yeah. It was very long. It was very hard work. I have to be like gotta pick up to the studio around 2:30, 3 a.m. and film it the whole day because so many people. When I do period drama, it's the same. So I have to get there early to put the wigs and all the costumes and all these things. Then you film until late, and then you go home, get home next day the same. So it was very hard work, but it was rewarding. The money was good, and they were happy. So
Wow.
yeah.
It's interesting you speak about sort of like the hard work aspect to it, because I mean I think there is a assumption, wrong one, that sort of the glitz and the glamour is all it is, when in reality
No.
it's more being let down, rejections and stuff like that actually is more common.
I would say like people have this impression like are you an actor, like they have the glamorous part, but of course not everyone get there. I know many people who are actress, they are doing different things, waitering, doing other things to get money. Like of course the mega stars, they are there already, but of course they went through a lot of things as well to get there.
Yeah.
And then you have this impression, but it's a lot of work, a lot of hard work. Many times I woke up early when I was doing House of Dragons, the first season, so I had to wake up very early to be there. I was in Watford, they were filming, so...
They filmed it in... Oh, okay, yeah. They were, what's the name of the place?
In Warner Brothers Studios.
That's it, yeah.
So many times I have to wake up early to be there early, to get a pick up to the studio and do all these things, and you get tired, and then next day is the same, so...
Have you always had this level of, I suppose, confidence when going into these auditions?
I guess I learned more working as a model, yeah. At the beginning, not. As I said, especially in Brazil, in São Paulo, because I have to wait for so many hours, like for hours.
Really?
Yeah, so many, you see so many guys, it's like, oh my God, and there's people by name or the image, and you're like, okay, this person here, okay. You have to be the one to be selected. So, but then nowadays I kind of fine. I went to the audition, this one that I told you before Christmas, was something that looked very easy, but of course among like 40, 50, they only picked 9. It's because the other ones are not doing the right thing or didn't have the profile that they want. They didn't have the performance that they were expecting.
The profile and the performance.
Yeah. Because everyone had the profile that they wanted,
Yeah,
like,
of course.
These the ways they want to see the everyone in person. But then, of course, you are required to do certain things, and the ones that they think, okay, this one good.
So what you're saying is that the modeling business actually built up your resilience, I think, to a certain extent. I mean, it's when it comes to aesthetics, and we certainly live much more in a much more image-based society today than we've ever lived in before. We sort of we started off the conversation talking about sort of well-being and all that sort of stuff. How have you seen image and people's aesthetics and their attitude towards aesthetics change over the years since you've first started modeling to today?
Yeah, I guess society changed a lot, especially after the internet, social media, and all these things. I guess in Brazil, people people are always concerned about the well-being and the physical appearance. You know, I guess it's part of the Brazilian lifestyle.
It's part of the culture.
Yeah, part of the culture. Yeah, when you watch TV and you see like, oh my God, it's like all the artists they have Botox. Yeah, they went through like plastic surgery, and then of course it impacts the people who are watching. You know.
Of course.
Yeah, and then with social media as well, because I have access to so many people from different backgrounds all over the world, and then they all had their personal experiences in taking lifestyle, and I guess things change, but I can see more change. Actually, I would say for me this is more clear, like in Brazil, for example, because it's part of the culture. I don't see that much here, although I see many people like doing like plastic surgery here as well. Like especially you look at the ladies, it's a kind of a pity, to be honest. Sorry to say that. They all look the same with the same nose, like oh, this is like, how come is that? You see, like this is Anita, the singer.
There's a look.
Oh, she looks like Anita. She looks like Anita. They all do the same nose, yeah.
A lot of girls look like
Jesus,
Anita.
yeah. I said, Jesus, please stop this. They all go to the same doctor there. Guys, they take the picture. I want to be like this person. So
Anita really, I mean, yeah, seeing photos of her, and it's that you see a lot of women that aspire to look like how she looks.
No, if you see, it's full, especially in Brazil. Yeah, of course, people here as well. Many people here go to Turkey to do surgeries and to do a lot of things, and yeah.
And it's interesting because of course you and I, whilst we sit here and talk about it, you and I have both had surgery, cosmetic. I suppose you would call it cosmetic surgery in the shape of a hair restoration project. Describe to me a little bit about your hair loss journey and how it started, what your initial thoughts were, and particularly being in the business you were in, which is based very much upon how you look.
Yeah.
Walk me through what that experience was like from start to finish.
So I guess I noticed that I started losing hair when I was 28.
Okay.
Yeah. I was in São Paulo. I was still working as a model. I was kind of annoying, try to cover a little bit. I was just a little here and just try to cover a little bit to work things out. But of course, my hair was receiving, and then I was in New York and I noticed, and I would say to my friends, and I want to do a hair transplant. No, you don't need it. And then
they said that in New York.
Yeah.
Okay.
I would just show my hair like, oh yeah, maybe just a little bit. And then of course, you're getting older. It's gonna receive even more. And then I was like, okay, no, I need to do a hair transplant because I can't stand this anymore.
How old were you at this time?
When I did it, I was 40.
Okay, when you did the transplant,
yeah,
it was 40.
Yeah, I said I have to do. I'm 40 years old. I have to do a transplant.
But you started noticing it when?
When I was 28.
Okay.
I would say, yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah,
I mean,
it
was about the same for me, maybe a little. Yeah, it was about the same for me.
And then of course I was taking finasteride, and I tried to use minoxidil that time, and then I was trying to do things.
Did it
to
work?
Get my hair. I mean, I don't know which point it worked, to be honest. I was not seeing because people say, well, when you take your pillow and you see a lot of hair, this when you have to be concerned about your hair loss, but was never for me. Was never like this.
Yeah.
I guess my hair was falling like little by little, got thinner, but I was noticing, at the same thing. So I did the hair transplant in 2018, beginning of 2018, well, just before I turned 40. 2017 I did that. January 2018. Yes, I was still 4 that time. And then I was very happy. I did with Vinci Clinic in Brazil.
Sure.
I was very happy with the result. I went to the clinic here, and then that time I was not living here, so I went to Brazil. I spent 3 times there. And then people here recommend to be in touch with people in Brazil.
Sure.
I did that. I was very, very happy with the result. I'm still happy with the result, but I noticed my hair starts falling again. But not
where the
from the crown that I never had this hair loss before.
Yeah.
And also like a bit here in the middle.
Okay.
So this was I guess I would say like 3 years ago. I remember when I went to Dubai, my hair was very long and then my hair was falling a lot. This was like March 2022. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it has been almost 3 years now.
That since you noticed
Yeah.
it thinning around
And
the crown.
falling. Yeah.
And have you looked at doing the PRP?
Yeah. So right now I'm doing the PRP and the mesotherapy.
Yeah.
So I did around 4 or 5 sessions.
Yeah.
But it takes between 3 and 6 months to see the results.
Sure.
So I'm still waiting a little bit more, but I can also see I guess it's getting better, but I'm still waiting a little bit more to see the results. But this is what I'm doing right now.
Interesting.
Once a month I do a PRP, and 1 month a PRP, the other month a mesotherapy.
Interesting. Do you think it's becoming certainly in your profession? Do you think it's more common than people realize with men, particularly in acting, but also in modeling, who have gone through these processes?
I don't think they notice it, to be honest. They realize that.
As in, the consumer wouldn't notice. No, they don't.
No, they don't.
Do you think do you think it's quite prevalent?
I mean, yes, acting, modeling, yes. People like, I guess, because we're concerned more. We try to keep the same appearance that we have like before. Imagine 1 year you had the hair, the other year you like bald, like who is the same actor? No, it's different. Oh my God, he changed so much. People notice these things.
Like Vin Diesel with long hair.
Yeah, exactly. Imagine. You can imagine Tom Cruise bald. Like people look, oh my God, he gets bald. Like, so you are known for this look, and you try to keep, even though you get older, is a kind of funny thing because you are getting older and of course you are changing. Everyone is changing every day. We don't notice, but we are changing. And then, so you're known for these looks. I want you to try to keep these looks. So, and people can go far and beyond to keep this look. Some people just don't worry much about that. But I would say in the film industry and modeling industry, people.
Do you think it's become more common? I don't know. I always think when I was younger, I would always see. I don't know. We were sort of talking about girls who get the surgery done and Anita and people like that. Do you think it's becoming more? I think acceptable is the wrong word, but I think it's becoming more. More common for guys to do it.
I definitely think yes.
Yeah.
But they are not openly doing this. Yeah. I guess we guys don't like to talk much about hair loss,
Why is that, do you think?
I think because it affects your self-esteem is one thing. I think another thing is because it's a sign that you are getting older, and then it's a kind of, it's the same as like, not the same, but you can think about having a gray hair. And you're like, oh my God, you have a gray hair, like, I'm getting older,
Yeah.
like this feeling, I'm not young anymore, like, and this, so mainly because of these two things, like self-esteem and then the fact that you are getting older. So if you do a hair transplant, I don't think people say, oh, I did a hair transplant before. I say that.
I think that's changing.
I'm completely fine about it, but I guess many people still they do, but if they will not say openly, like, or if I see your hair is falling, I would say, maybe you should do a hair transplant. No, and then, I did one before. Then
it's even worse because then it's like, oh, right, you've already done it.
Yeah. So I don't think people are definitely doing more hair transplant we've been doing more hair transplant for the last maybe 5, 6, or 8 years, maybe 7 years. But I guess we're not like openly disclosing it, like.
Do you think that will change?
Possibly, yeah. I would say yes. Yeah, in the last 5, 10 years maybe. Yeah.
There seems to be a sort of. The reason I say is because particularly the world that you're in, when it comes to sort of people of, whether it's actors or models or sort of people in the entertainment industry who have a big reach.
Mm-hmm.
I think it would be good for some more transparency that they have gone through a procedure. Not that it is necessarily everybody else, some people could argue that it's a very private thing.
Mm-hmm.
The reason I say that is because I think I mean, I've got lots of friends, and because I know Salva and I know Vinci, I can see that they need it, right? And I can also see when they've done it, and where they've done it, if that makes any sense.
Yes.
It's funny because you can Brazil, whatever else Brazil is with when it comes to plastic surgery, it's extremely good, right?
Yeah.
There's no messing around there. They are very, very good at what they do in Brazil, but also in places like Harley Street in the UK. But yeah, I think it's, whilst it's a private matter, I get that. I do think it's also, like you said, it's not just the image, it's also how the person feels. And I think much in the same way when we see, when you watch movies and there are guys who are quite clearly enormous, yeah, and they've been training, and you talked about sort of looking after yourself. And I've got a son, right? And when he sees, he's still too small, but when he's a little bit older and he sees, an actor go from being very, very slim to suddenly absolutely huge in 2 months. And we know that in order to get to that stage, you need to be taking different steroids in order to get that muscle mass. I think there would be an argument to be more transparent about it, insofar as, to not give people the false impression that you do grow old gracefully naturally, or that you do put on muscle mass overnight by just eating lean protein. It's like that doesn't always work. Like, it's not just that, it's other things as well. And maybe to bring more transparency to it, I don't know. And I think the entertainment industry has a responsibility to some extent to bring that to the fray.
I think so as well. I just think it's a bit hard as well, no?
Of course.
Yeah. So the ladies, who does plastic surgery, they not say, "Oh, I did this, and that." They're not gonna say like, "Oh, you look amazing. You look amazing." It's the same. So the guys, it's the same. Oh my God, look at that. Look at this body. Like, they're not gonna say, "Oh, I did this, and that." Like, I think about hair transplant. I think, as I said, some people they would have like let's say reasons to not disclose it, but I think it helps a lot. I guess the main point is to help, and people see like they can get a good result. You can feel better about yourself. If something is bothering you, if you're not feeling well because you're losing hair, if your image, it's affecting your self-esteem. So this was the point that I was like, this is affecting my self-esteem.
Was it really
something.
Affecting?
Yeah. Because look at the self in the mirror and like, okay, I don't feel good like this. It's the same as when I started working out, and then people say, what motivates you to keep working out? I've been working out for such a long time. I was 21, so I'm going to be 48 now. So I've been 27 years that I've been working out constantly. And then, some days I want to go, some days I'm not feeling like going, but people ask me, what motivates you to keep working out? I said, I look myself in the mirror. If I'm not
That's enough.
Yeah. If I'm not happy with my image, so I have to do something to change. So if you start losing hair, or if you're not happy with your body or whatever, do what you can to change your image and to get a better image, to feel better with yourself. Because the most important thing is self-acceptance,
Self-acceptance.
Yeah, you have to accept. And if you're not happy the way you are, so try to change, but without going crazy, and without doing things that are not legal or going too far just to get an image. This is not the point. So this is not worth in doing this. But I was very skinny before I started working out. So I started working out because I want to have a better body. Now I try to work out to keep my body, because if I gain weight, I'll not feel good with myself. If I lose weight, if I become skinny again, I'll not feel good about myself. Yeah. So my hair starts falling. I start concerned about my hair, about my image. I'm like, oh my God, again this. Yeah. I need to do something. So it's the reason I'm doing the PRP and the mesotherapy now.
Yeah, it's funny. Because I went through the same thing when I was, suddenly. For me, though, when I did the hair transplant, there was a few other things as well that I changed because of the hair transplant, if that makes any sense. So suddenly, because I saw the immediate change, I then suddenly decided, well, if this looks good, let me try and get some other things that look a little bit better as well, right? And then it becomes sort of almost self-fulfilling. And then I started going to the gym much more. being more vigilant with what I eat.
No.
I wasn't sure also whether the diet was contributing to certain things, low testosterone or high testosterone, and therefore hair loss is more prevalent. I wasn't too sure. And so when I did do the hair transplant, I focused on my diet being better. Exercise and so on became much more important. I mean, listen, I could always do more. But I think also, I'm 36 now. I'm going to be 37 at the end of this year. I always have a son as well. You don't want to be
Life change, yeah.
right. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And I think it's important to say to anyone listening is that there's never a perfect time to do it. The best time to do it was probably yesterday. If you're thinking, because you're not going to not think like this, right? It's only ever going to eat you up more and more and more.
I'm going to start tomorrow. Start today. Why not?
Yeah. Well, do you know what? It's funny you say this. Like, there was it was actually in New York when I was in New York years and years and years ago, like 15 years ago, and this was in Times Square, and on one of the adverts, one of the billboards, was the Nike advert, right? And all it was the tick at the bottom, and it said, yesterday you said tomorrow, just do it. Or something like that. I can't remember what it was. It was something like, yesterday you said tomorrow, just do it. So as if to say, like, it's always going to be like, the next day, or we'll push it, But I think with something like this, I think this is sort of a public service announcement to all guys. If you're thinking about this.
It's the reason I don't do, sorry to interrupt you. It's the reason I do New Year's resolution,
That's
if
right.
I want you to do it tomorrow, just do it today.
Do it today, yeah.
As my friends, I'm not exercising, I need to go back. I said, you told me this yesterday. I said, just park the car, change the clothes, and go for a walk.
Yeah. Right, yeah.
Because if you postpone, and then the end, so.
There was also, what's his name? Jurassic Park, Guardians of the Galaxy, Chris. God. No, not Chris Hemsworth. Chris Pratt. There we go. Got it. Chris Pratt. He was asked when he got built for the Guardians of the Galaxy. He said he had to eat like this protein, like super high protein diet, blah 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 blah. Had to do it for 9 months. And like when you stand there looking down, like 9 months from now, you think, geez, that is a long time.
Yeah.
But he said, like, what were you doing in April last year? Well, there you go. That's 9 months ago. You know what I mean? It's like, and suddenly you think back to something you did in April, and it wasn't that long ago, really. So. But anyway, so tell me, I'm conscious of time. I know we've got to shoot off. Tell me a little bit about what's next for you, Pericles. I know obviously you got your birthday in Morocco. I'll see you there. I'll come for that. Tell me what's next. What's next in the pipeline?
So I'm starting this new project. Now I'm starting filming tomorrow actually. So I have the 6 days filming, and then I'm back in March. In February, in end of January, I also start filming a very interesting, very polemic, I would say, project as well, because some people like the show, some other people don't like, and then I'll be part of that show.
Okay, very cryptic.
Yeah, I cannot say much because of the disclosure. But anyway, I'm traveling to Greece with a group in May. Yeah, I'm also planning to start another destination, so I want to go to Brazil in August. I want to do the north part of Brazil, Lençóis Maranhenses. Yeah, very beautiful and unique place. So I want to start doing tours there, like taking people to travel to this area in Brazil. Hopefully, I'm going to Thailand in November
with all the other Brazilians.
Yeah, and I'm trying to go to Egypt as well this year still. Yeah, and open book waiting to be filled. Amazing adventures.
More blogs.
Yeah, more blogs. More filming.
Amazing. And where can people find all your stuff? Instagram.
Yeah, so people can find me on Instagram on Pericles Rosa. Yeah, is my full name. My blog is 7 Continents, 1 Passport. Can also find on YouTube and Instagram as well. And I'm just trying to do more TikTok now.
Okay.
I had
Isn't it getting banned in America?
yeah, that people say. I had recently. I had a video that went viral that was crazy, and the people were recognizing me on the streets. I'm like, oh my god, the video has over 20 million views.
What?
Yeah, and I said, oh, wow, this like blew my mind, but.
That is wild.
Yeah, this is wild. Yeah.
Do you know what, just before we go and we talk about sort of image, that's another thing where suddenly you can take a video to send to a couple of friends that follow you and they're like, oh, he looks good. And then in 1 week, 20 million people see you and you think, hang on.
No.
Now that's
the power of social media nowadays.
The power, but also the danger of it as well.
Yeah,
right?
You know,
it's if you wield that type of power, it can work both ways for you. Right?
Yeah, true.
Okay, good stuff. Well, listen, I think that's call it a wrap. Yeah, good stuff. Well, listen, very nice to see everybody. Tune in next time and we'll have another great guest on the Vinci Hair Podcast.